check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
What is happening? I'm Dan Wiederer of the Chicago Tribune, joined by that guy, some redheaded guy I used to work with in a past life. Rich Campbell, how you doing?
Great. Haven't seen you in like 2 weeks.
Great reunion down in Nashville. You came down for a day. Bears played a preseason game against the Titans. You didn't go to the Bears preseason game against the Titans. Just played golf with me, which was a great way to get back on the road, right?
I've already been to a Bears-Titans preseason game in Nashville, and it was painful. Believe me, it's painful.
So well for anybody.
Yeah, so I had to just get back on the road after our golf, which I still owe you money for, by the way. I have not forgotten it.
Well, on the topic of money, we are here to either make or lose money for our audience here, right? This is the pilot episode of The Window, where you and I are going to take something that we used to do in print at the Chicago Tribune and try to put it in YouTube form to give people picks from around the NFL every week that they can use to either make or lose money. They're going to have to wait a few weeks to figure out whether we're good at this or bad at this. So that's up to them, right?
Or they could go back to when we did this in print and realize that we're not good at this.
Well, I think if I'm not mistaken, we had some scoring system. This was back in 2018, if I'm not mistaken. And we both got to the end of week 17 at like zero. It was just a total push. I think we realized at that time this was a total waste of time and energy. And now we're going to revive it because who doesn't need more time and energy to waste and money?
Well, and the world has changed since 2018 with apps and whatnot. It's a little bit more accessible. Maybe our audience is a little bit more in tune. So we'll give it another shot. Have some fun.
Apps and stuff. I see Roger Goodell on CNBC and other network programming. He's saying, yeah, gambling. Let's go gambling. So, yeah, the world has changed.
Let's be real. Let's be real. Once they could just wrap their arms around the all the zeros that they would use to build that ice sculpture at the owners' meetings every year, then it was green light. Yeah. I'm expecting to see like 3 times as many ice sculptures at next year's owners' meetings. So rather than the telescope that they used to let you look up at the moon at, you just go to the moon. They'll just send you.
All right. So this is it. We've got 7 categories every week, and we're going to go down one by one and give the people what they need to know. The first category every week is going to be the Bears game. So the Bears heading to SoFi Stadium in LA, they're going there, Rich, as 7.5-point underdogs. I'll give you my pick first because I had to file it for the Chicago Tribune. I picked Rams 23, Bears 17. I've sat through 3 consecutive years of Bears-Rams to realize that these defenses are good enough to keep this a low-scoring affair. If you're looking at the total of that game, which we're not at this stage yet, hold your horses on that. That's up there a little bit. But this is a Bears cover, in my opinion. I don't feel super comfortable picking it because I think the Rams could get hot on both sides of the ball and run away with it. But I got the Bears keeping it close enough to cover. Yourself?
Yeah, I think it is a toss-up on the number. At 7.5, it could easily be Bears through the back door. I'll go Rams, and really it's a coin flip for me. I would prefer to tease this down to 1.5 and would feel a lot better about the Rams if I did that. All eyes on Matthew Stafford, right? And what he might mean for the Rams offense and their ability to score and match it up with that defense they have there. Given, I'm not a huge Stafford believer, but he's better than Andy Dalton. And just this to me adds up that the Rams win by 10. And if they don't, right, it's something along the lines of what you predicted, 6 points. So really close. I'll pick the Rams on the number.
All right. There's your number. So game of the week is our second topic every week. And this week we're going with Saints-Packers. Now, look, this is the first game for the New Orleans Saints in the post-Drew Brees era. They're not able to play this game in New Orleans because of what happened with Hurricane Ida. This game will be played in Jacksonville. The Packers are giving 3.5 points at this point. I'm going with that. I'm circling it. I'm putting yellow highlighter around it. I think even with all the drama that surrounded the Packers in the offseason with Aaron Rodgers trying to figure out where he belonged and what he wanted to do and did he feel valued enough by the Packers, this guy's the reigning MVP. He's playing with an offense that was 80% conversion rate inside the red zone last year. He's got a receiver in Devontae Adams who is playing for a contract. You want motivation for these guys in their last go-around together to lay it on as many people as possible. I'm saying the Packers in a runaway in this game in Jacksonville. Circle it, highlight it, Packers.
Yeah, and when you look at some of the individual situations, you mentioned Adams and Rodgers, in some contexts, some dynamics, right? That self-serving approach or that self-interested approach could conflict with team success. And I think in this instance, it's the opposite. It will drive team success for Green Bay. I think they're going to have a great season, and I've got them as well in this game against the Saints, laying the points.
Aaron's one of those assassins, right? And you get him in an assassin's mindset, and it's trouble, right? And so that's what I think the Saints are going to have a difficult time holding up on that. All right, NFL lock of the week. I'm going to turn this over to you. I've got mine here, but I'm going to give you the first crack at giving this one.
Yeah, I'm going to pick the Panthers laying 4 against the Jets. Just don't think the Jets will have the type of offensive chemistry and ability, even though the Panthers are starting a new quarterback as well in a reunion game, which is, no coincidence. But I think the Panthers will be able to put it together with more weapons. And I'm really interested to see what Sam Darnold is going to do in a new environment. Not to say that he's surrounded with a ton of weapons, but I thought he was talented coming out of college. I think we could all look at his situation with the Jets and identify problems there. Some of them were his own development, right, that you put on him, but maybe even around him as well. Get him in a new environment. Let's see what happens. And I think they start well in Carolina.
That game may not have a ton of eyeballs on it. It's not the sexiest matchup of week 1, but I like your pick there. I'm going to go with the New England Patriots -3 at home against the Miami Dolphins.
Okay.
You just sort of feel like after last year, after 7-9, that Bill Belichick understands, hey, I used to cover numbers a lot, right? and I'm going to try to do it again. And so obviously they've got a lot on their plate here. You're talking about Mac Jones, rookie, making his first NFL start against the defense last year. The Dolphins defense was really good last year, Rich. Led the league in takeaways where they were the best defense on third down. That's a challenge for a rookie quarterback, but it just feels like the Patriots have come back together defensively. Kyle Van Noy's back. They've got Dante Hightower back. There's a lot of things that lead you to believe that this is going to be a different Patriots team than we saw in the COVID bridge year of 2020. I say the Patriots win this game by double digits for old time's sake, and that's my lock.
Oh, very interesting. We'll be able to circle back on that in a minute, and this is where the competition between you and me get interesting here. One thing about the Dolphins is quarterbacks dominate these early season storylines, right? Because that's the anchor. And the Dolphins move forward with Tua Tagovailoa, who was not their best quarterback last year, right? I mean, this is part of an organizational plan for them, but you could make the argument that he was not, or he did not give them the best chance to win as opposed to Ryan Fitzpatrick a year ago. So they go forward with this plan, and they obviously believe in his development. There are reasons to believe in him. Yeah. But what's he going to be, right? I mean, what's he going to be? It's not a known quantity. And so that's an interesting pick, but we'll circle back on that in just a moment.
All right. Money line upset. The rules for this are you have to pick an underdog to win straight up.
Okay.
And for me, there weren't a lot of choices here, right? This week, you didn't have a lot of underdogs where you said, man, I feel really good about that. But the one that jumped out to me was the Las Vegas Raiders, plus 170. Last game of the week on Monday Night Football. And you look at the Ravens. They lost Marcus Peters this week. They lost Gus Edwards this week. They lost J.K. Dobbins a month ago. They seem like they're reeling a little bit from a health standpoint. The Raiders at home, they're getting 4 and a hook if you want them straight up on the line. I'm taking them to win this game straight up. Derek Carr to be sharp. Look, fans in the stands in Vegas. That should create an environment there that we haven't seen previously. So that should be fun. That's where I'm going. Raiders to beat the Ravens straight up.
They've got so many questions on the Raiders side about their offensive weapons, and including quarterbacks. So we'll see if they can score.
Brian Edwards, Raiders receivers on my fantasy team. No questions there.
So no questions. Okay, good. Yeah, I mean, not a bare cupboard though. Not a bare cupboard, but let's just see how it plays out. I like them, with the points. Whether they can win, I like the pick. I'm going to pick another home underdog. It's the Indianapolis Colts. They are
that's a good one.
Yeah, they're 3-point underdogs against the Seahawks, and the Colts are good. They're good. They have a really good defense. They have a very balanced team. Questions at quarterback with the transition from Phillip Rivers to Carson Wentz, and Carson Wentz missed a good portion of the summer with a foot injury. He was in the COVID protocol more recently. I'm in the indie market here now, and there's a lot of questions about the quarterback, they always are directed there. But if you look around the quarterback, a lot to like. And I just think that they will be, like a sneaky sort of underrated, under the radar team. They could have beaten the Bills very easily in the playoffs last year. They went 4 and out in a goal to go set of downs, and it kind of turned the game. And if they had scored there, maybe they beat the Bills. Maybe the feeling about the Bills is different right now. Maybe the feeling about the Colts is different right now. So I think they can jump up and win a game.
You mentioned that you're in the Indy market. When you weren't in the Indy market, when the Bears played a preseason game there in 2019, and we said, we can just send one person to that game, what could happen? And then Andrew Luck retired that night. And all of a sudden I went from covering a meaningless preseason game to covering Andrew Luck's retirement. So thanks for that. That's a great memory that I have.
Yeah, all right. I think about you every time I drive past the stadium and think, that must have been a tough night. I wonder what time you got to West Lafayette in the courtyard.
Yeah. Well, we've had some other evenings in Indianapolis that aren't going to be discussed on the YouTube, but they've been late nights and they've happened. The just for fun game, for me, if you're going to have fun, pick a fun game and then find something fun within that game to have fun with. So I'm going with a playoff rematch from the AFC last year, and I'm taking the over in Kansas City, Cleveland. 54 and a hook in that game. The game was much more lower scoring than expected in the playoffs last year. Chiefs won that one 22-17 in January. I'm expecting a pinball machine game this weekend. I think that the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey and Hill and all the things that they can do, really, they get hot in the month of September. That's documented. I think Cleveland can keep up and play a game that gets in the 30s for both teams. And so let's go. Let's ride that over 54 and a half. Chiefs, Browns should be a fun game overall, but it becomes even more fun when I do that.
Yeah, the offensive line questions that the Chiefs have are always going to be in the background to the wow factor of the skill position players there. And Patrick Mahomes obviously had problems in the Super Bowl with the offensive line and the pressure that he was under. But let's see how he holds up against the Browns, who can score, right? They've got playoff experience. They're an ascending team. That's a really fun game. Could have been our game of the week, really.
Yeah.
I'm really interested in Minnesota, Cincinnati. Number one, because Minnesota seems to be sort of hanging on, right? They've got a coach in Mike Zimmer maybe needs to win or else. And they've got familiar players on offense with Kirk Cousins and Dalvin Cook. And you've got the Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen combo that they can score, right? There's no reason they shouldn't be able to score. And then on Cincinnati side, Joe Burrow and all the talent that he brought last year, for me personally, it was sort of out of mind after he got hurt. So now he's back. Let's see what they can do. They've built a lot around him. And it's one of the situations that, number one, Bears fans will be particularly interested in, right? Because of the pecking order in the division. So it's a game that everyone in Chicago will be rooting for Cincinnati. And you've got the league, right? The revolving door of good teams and bad teams. If Cincinnati's going to jump up, they need to win, right? So for me, I'm just really intrigued by some of the personnel and the storylines in this game. I'll go with the Bengals. I think that they will take a step forward. It wouldn't surprise me necessarily if they don't, but I think they will. And I'm really interested to see Joe Burrow on Sunday.
Bengals get a week 2 trip to Chicago for the Andy Dalton revenge game. So mark that on your calendar for next week.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Marked. Maybe a game of the week, a lock, and just for fun at the same time.
Yeah, you can find all sorts of different things to throw on there. All right, it's teaser time. All right, we get one teaser, and you can pick from multiple games. You can pick from multiple menus here. I'm going with a previously mentioned total, which was the under in the Bears-Rams game, teasing that up to 52.5 from 46.5. And with my 23-17 final, there's not even a bead of sweat on the forehead if you go that far under. I'm going to tease that with maybe we should make a rule on this in the future to not be able to do this, but picking the Raiders straight up to beat the Ravens, I'm also going to tease them up to 10 points, marry that up with the total in the Bears-Rams game, and go to the window.
Well, here's my thought on whether we should make a rule about that. You're pushed in, right? You're just pushing your chips in. And
go Raiders.
If you go to the window twice on this one pick, you're coming away if you hit with double the roses. So yeah, I got no problem with you doubling down on this, and I like both of those. My teaser, I decided to choose different games than I had so far, just for the reason you were talking about. I would tease the Dolphins to +9, and I'm interested now that knowing that you like the Pats at -3. what you think of 9 as that number.
I think it's a boat race. I think the Patriots are winning this thing by 2 touchdowns.
Okay. So you don't like it. So that'll be interesting to check in on Sunday night. And then I like teasing the Chiefs with that down to a pick 'em. So 5.5 down to pick 'em, because I think the Chiefs win that game. For me, I have enough doubts about Mac Jones' ability to pull away from the Dolphins. That's where that comes from. But I also would not have any problem if you wanted to tease, let's say, the Rams from 7.5 to 1.5. If you wanted to tease the Bills down against Pittsburgh and just pick them basically to win, which is effectively what that would be. So I think there's some really attractive teasers this week in the NFL.
So we're going to move out of the NFL for our final pick every week.
We're
going to give everyone a college game, because what are you going to do on Saturday if you don't have a college game to pick? And so I'm going right away with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Right.
-17 in their home opener against Toledo. Obviously, they blew a big lead and needed overtime last week against Florida State. Brian Kelly, the head coach, threatened to execute the whole team. Tried to tell a joke. Didn't go over so well with some people. Went over okay with some others.
Yeah.
The whole team is on notice, though. They don't want to be executed, right? So they're going to come out and they're going to play a really strong offensive football game. This is an offense that can get hot quickly. I think you look at the way that Jack Cohn is playing. You look at what they can do with Michael Mayer at receiver. I think the Irish get on their home soil and they just put up points. And by the middle of the third quarter, you're saying, wow, they're going to try to score 50 on Toledo. So there it is.
Yeah, and looking at that Notre Dame Florida State game last week, what an awesome environment that was, just for that whole event, right? And for Notre Dame to win, it was a good result for them. The cover, they're probably ambitious 7.5 in that environment. So yeah, I like that. They go home and just sort of get everything together. For me, I am going to take Ball State getting 22.5 at Penn State.
In honor of David Haugh.
In honor of David Haugh. Yeah, definitely in honor of David. You won't find a bigger Ball State fan. And with Penn State,
former player.
Right? Exactly. With Penn State, big win at Wisconsin. It was just like an ugly noon Big Ten game at Wisconsin last week. They go to Auburn, or they host Auburn in a week. So this is between Wisconsin and Auburn. So it's a trap game. Ball State's the best team in the MAC. Have all most of their contributors back from last year's first place team, including senior quarterback. So I just think 22.5 is too many points.
I think we've got this thing surrounded. I think if people can't use this information to make their weekend fun, I'm not saying profitable, I'm saying fun. Then they're missing the boat. We'll work on the profitable thing in another date, but there it is. We're going to run a little graphic with both our picks here in a minute, but always remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel. This is the pilot episode of The Window. The window is only going to open wider as we get deeper into the football season and we figure some things out. It's awesome. This is awesome to give this a whirl.
Good luck to everybody and enjoy the games.